how did you get to the point where
How can I afford it? This is what you're asking in an indirect way.
it's a pretty broad question, but I'm
Yeah.
saying, how did you start this business? You're investing, I know, in real estate.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how is it that you can run this company, but then you can take off? You don't just take off for these challenges. You take your family on
Yeah.
some pretty incredible vacations, adventures around the country, the world. So it seems like you're living a life that's very full, and it's full of giving to others as well. And I mean, how is it that is possible?
Oh man, there was a lot of questions in that, and I don't think your I don't think your podcast episodes are long enough. But yes, for the most recent part of that, first I'll try to work my way back. I do also do lots of family fun because I try to balance. I mean, I can't just be traveling the world doing crazy adventures and leaving my family behind. So we do try to take some awesome family trips, adventures together as well. But the key word to every part of the success is work. I mean, I was a hustler as a little kid, and eventually the hustles turned into legitimate businesses. But I mean, I was shoveling when it snowed and the kids were running to the sled hill. I was shoveling my old neighbors' driveways, and I'd show up at the sledding hill with $40 in my pocket, that kind of thing. I was always working. I mean, I could tell you hilarious stories of being like a little kid and just hustling side gigs that I couldn't believe I did. But, and then out of college.
Right there. As a kid, though, you're hustling for what? For why? And because I know, it was a lot of kids. When I was a kid, I would hustle until I had the money in my pocket, then I'd go blow it on something. So,
Well, yeah, I'm not. I don't think I was saving it as a little kid, but I quickly learned that if you want to spend money on what you want, you have to make it. You know what I mean? That you're in charge of your own destiny. No one's going to give you anything. I mean, sure, I grew up in a probably middle class, maybe upper middle class, barely, and I was probably spoiled actually. So, but my dad was like a 9 to 5er. I mean, professional man, lawyer, worked in the government, but he was still working 9 to 5, playing golf on weekends. He was not working, 12-hour days, 7 days a week. And I don't ever recall, I mean, I learned everything from my parents, but I don't ever recall my dad sitting me down, like hammering home work ethic. It was just something somehow that was always in me. And I guess maybe they felt like they didn't have to. So some of that stuff, I'm not sure is learned. I just feel like I was born with an entrepreneurial gene, and I always wanted to work. And I would blow off fun all the time to make extra money. When I got out of college, I managed my brother's which is how I got into the airline catering company. But I mean, I was working in a food court restaurant in the airport, or a hot dog stand, we called it. And I got a part-time job with the airline, really just so I could get the flying benefits, but obviously I got paid. And then on the weekends, this is in the summer, I'd go to the beach, and I was a bouncer at a bar. So I was working 3 jobs. I mean, there was basically no days going by that I wasn't on one clock or another, make money. I got out of college, I moved back in with my parents, and I saved every penny I made. The first $50,000, I bought a townhouse, and then I invited all my friends and rented all the rooms out to them. I mean, at one point, I think I was sleeping on the couch in the rec room because I had all the bedrooms rented out. You know what I mean? So, and so then I just started investing. I mean, I bought my first house, I don't know, 20-some years ago, and all the money I made, I started buying houses. And, the airline business is kind of a scary business. I went through 9/11. The airline went bankrupt twice on me, 2 mergers, a pandemic. So I was always playing the what if game. You always got to have a plan B. And so the real estate was my plan B. and fortunately they've both done great, thank God. So that's how also I've been able to, pay my way through races. And when I raise money for a race, I never have taken any money to pay for my costs.